Michelle Torrio, and this is the Be Mindful podcast. Hi there, and welcome back to the Be Mindful podcast. On today's episode, we are going to be focusing on achieving success and how you need to fail first in order to get there. And maybe it's not just failing once, maybe it's failing twice or 3 times or more than that. It's something that is just part of the process, and I think it should be talked more about. So we are going to be focusing on that today. And if you are new here, welcome. If you are interested in anything like mindset, manifestation, self-growth, transformation, faith, anything like that, then this is the episode for you. And I suggest you like and subscribe and continue following wherever you are listening. So let's get right into the episode. I wanted to bring this up today because there was a season where I really believed that I failed, and I felt embarrassed, I felt guilty, and this was when I actually left my full-time job to go full-time into coaching. Things were taking off. I thought they were, and they were for a minute. But after a year of being full-time coaching, I ended up having to go back into full-time. And I remember just kind of being lost and confused. And again, like I said earlier, embarrassed because I had this whole plan. I had this whole vision of where I was going to go, what I was going to do with my business, and it just wasn't working. It was failing. And I felt like I put all this work, all these hours of getting my coaching certification, of learning from other business coaches. I thought all of it pretty much went to waste. But that definitely wasn't true. Fast forward to today, I look at my life and I'm like, wow, I am really happy that all of those things happened because it really prepared me to show up differently now for my coaching business. That season of failure, I don't really like to call it failure, but that season of challenges and all the things that I went through, that taught me more than any success could ever teach me. So on today's episode, my goal for you is to leave this episode with a different perspective on success and know that if you failed, good. That means that you tried. That means that you put in the effort to get there and that you're just being redirected. So let's start from there. Failure is just redirection. I always love the quote, rejection is redirection, because it's true. Society teaches us that success is linear. And the reason why is because we see people's accomplishments online, but we don't see the struggle. We don't see how many times they've actually failed to get there. Success can also look different for anyone and everyone. Just because you view success a certain way doesn't mean someone else does. For example, success for me used to look very different to me when I was in my early teens and my early 20s. I really thought that success was you just making a lot of money and being able to buy all the things that you want and being debt-free, specifically financial freedom. And financial freedom is still something that I want, but that's not success to me anymore. Success to me is my relationship with God, my relationship with my husband, my relationship with my family. Success to me is also me being healthy and living a happy life, choosing to live a happy life every single day, and also just being mentally and physically strong. Those are just a few examples to me what success looks like, but to other people it could be different, and that's okay. And something I want you to remember too, when you are trying to achieve success, it can be very messy. Growth is messy, and that's something we just have to accept. It's not a perfect road. So what that looks like when you're trying to achieve success, it's you trying new things, you pivoting whenever you feel called to do something different. Another is just by starting over. And when you start over, that also rebuilds your confidence. You are teaching yourself that you are capable. And that's why during that season where I had to go back to my full-time, I really thought that going back to work was when I failed. But really, it was a complete opposite. It really gave me stability, perspective, and it gave me a space to rebuild my business in a healthier way. Because the way I was approaching my business back then wasn't sustainable, and it makes sense why it didn't work out. And if I didn't go back to my full-time, I wouldn't be where I am today. I probably wouldn't have the house that I have. I probably wouldn't have had the wedding that I wanted. I just know for a fact that I most likely wouldn't be in this position. And that's a big thing when it comes to working towards success. When you fail or you get stuck, you hit a bump in the road, you can't keep replaying that situation over and over in your head. Like, you can't just keep blaming it. You either are going to accept what it is and see what you can do differently to move forward, or you're just going to be in a loop. There's a lot of people who stay in a loop for a very long time, where the loop is where they just stay the victim and they blame the situation for where they are today. This can be with anything, and not just like in your career or in business. It could even be in relationships. Like, you could be thinking that the reason why you're single is because there's not all these good people because your last relationship, someone cheated on you. Like, you can stay in that loop, or you can take the risk and go outside and meet new people and date new people so that you can find the right person for you. Anyone that you see is successful, I want you to remember that they failed privately first. You don't see the struggles that they went through internally or physically. You don't see any launches. Maybe they're a business owner, like any launches that flopped. You don't see the debt that maybe that they had to go through. Maybe they took out loans and then they had a hard time paying it off, so they had to close their business. Those who are in corporate, you don't see when they applied for all these different jobs and heard no. You don't see when people burn out, and you don't see when they doubt themselves. I bring this to your awareness because you have probably experienced all of this, and it's okay. That means that we are living life. We are trying new things and putting ourselves out there. So if you ever feel like a failure, you're not. You're just going through a season where you're being redirected. Like I said in the beginning, rejection is redirection and failure is just redirection. And I challenge you to say that to yourself over and over again anytime you get to a time of challenge or bumps in the road. And also, you're not disqualified just because your journey isn't perfect. Mine was far from perfect. I had a plan and it didn't work out. And that's fine, because this plan that I'm in right now was God's plan. This plan was bigger than me. And there's so much more coming that I'm excited about. And if I find myself failing again, then I can look at that as, I freaking tried. That's all that matters, whatever. And maybe in the moment, it's not always the easiest, but that's the power we have with our mindset. We have the ability to choose that perspective instead of leaning on putting ourselves down. How you view yourself and what you believe in is huge here, because your identity cannot depend on external success. And that is something that I really struggled with during this time of going back to my full time. I had to learn that my value didn't disappear just because my timeline changed. You cannot attach your worth to your achievement. Something that I teach my clients in my coaching program is their worth, knowing that you're just worthy because you are. It's really a choice. You can't rely on outside validation. And I know with social media, it can be so hard. You can see people that you love and see people online that you don't even know and see their success and compare yourself. And sometimes it can feel like, when will that happen for me? Or is that even possible for me? Instead of questioning if it is, question, why do you have to ask yourself that? Why do you have to doubt yourself if it is even possible? Where did that belief even come from? Is it a rule that you have to believe that it's not capable for you? No, it's not. So we're just going to drop that belief and create a new one. Whatever you're working on, whether you're in business or you're in corporate, let's say you're trying to work up the corporate ladder or you're trying to grow your business, do your best to separate your self-worth with the outcome. There's a quote that I've seen recently, and I don't know who it's from, but it said something like, those who become millionaires know that deep down, feeling rich starts from within and has nothing to do with the physical aspects of money. And that can be the same thing with success. Like, you can already feel and know that you are worthy of success and that you're already on your way, and not connecting it with your current reality. Just because your current reality feels and looks like it's not capable, you have to be stronger than that. I know that's easier said than done, but this is the work that matters the most because we all know in order to get whatever we want, we have to believe in ourselves. And that's actually something that I work with my clients. I have my clients really focus on identity work and rewiring their mind because you can't create change in your life without becoming aware of where you are mentally in order for you to move forward and get to the life and create the life that you want. If any of this interests you, check the link in my bio. My waitlist is open for online coaching, so that is coming soon. So let's go back to failure and like what it actually teaches you. It teaches you resilience. It teaches you strategy. It teaches you patience. It teaches you authenticity. The version of me now is way smarter than the old version of me because of what didn't work. This is a light bulb moment for us too when we find things that don't work for us. The majority of people though, when they get to a point where things aren't working, they tend to worry. And that is another challenge I have for you is if you find yourself in a process as you work towards your goals and it's just not working over and over again, then that's your time to pivot. And even if you try something new and it still doesn't work, it's okay. It's another checkbox for you to know, okay, this doesn't work. And you could focus on the things that are working for you successfully and keep doing that. As always, I want to give you a few tips that you can leave with today. So the first one is to stop using your middle story as the end of your story. The reason I say the middle is because if you haven't achieved what you wanted yet, then you're still on the way. You're still in the middle of your process. You're still in the middle of your story with that. So give yourself some grace during the process and know that you still got things to do. You are still on your way. And it's okay if it's not the timeline that you expected. The second tip is knowing that if you need support, then that doesn't mean that you failed. It's so important to ask for help if you know someone that can help you. When I started my coaching business, I was doing it all on my own. And then eventually I hired a business coach and I worked with them. And I also signed up for other coaching programs so that I can just really become the expert, not just as a coach, but also a business owner. Just because I know how to coach doesn't mean I know how to run the actual business. So that was me investing in myself to get more help. So I highly suggest to work with an expert if you can, or if you know someone personally, even better, really ask them questions and learn from them. Tip number 3 is that you can pause, you can rest, you can pivot, and you can rebuild anytime you want. If you've been following the podcast, you know that I stopped this podcast for a year, a whole year. I was really burning myself out again, and I kept doing this over and over. There would be periods of time where I would be chilling, and then there would be a period where I would lead back into the burnout again, and I'd find myself in this loop over and over again. And there would be times where I felt like I overcame it, and then I'd look back and be like, what the heck? I'm going through this again. So pausing and resting and pivoting, whatever you need to do, like that's not going to hold you back. It's not going to put you behind. It's actually going to move you forward long term because the goal is sustainability, right? We don't want to burn ourselves out to success. Like that's not my goal. And I'm pretty sure if you're listening to this, that's not your goal either. So even if you need time to kind of like take a break and reset, do it. That is part of the process of achieving success. In my last episode, I talked about the importance of rest, for example, and that's needed. So just keep that in mind, okay? And if you missed that episode, go check it out. The last tip I want to share with you is that the people who have succeeded, they are usually the people who kept going even through disappointment. And again, most of the time, we only see people's accomplishments. We didn't see the tough challenges that they had to go through. We didn't see any of that. So if you see someone that you look up to and they are living this life that is success to you, that is your sign, one, that it is possible for you. And that is a sign that you are so capable to get there. And also that they just failed over and over again too to get there. So those are the 4 tips for this episode, and I really hope that you found this entire episode in general helpful. And also, like I said, I really want you to just have a different perspective when it comes to success, and a different perspective when you hear that word failing or failure. The only time you failed is if you legit quit and you stop. And there's a difference between stopping and resetting. Okay, there's a total difference in those two. Stopping is just stopping because things got hard. Resetting is because you are stopping to start over again. And pivoting is not failure because you are pivoting to something new because maybe the other thing just wasn't working. So whatever you do, just don't stop because things are hard. Keep going. And before I end this episode, I wanted to show you guys my sweater if you're watching. It says be mindful. And there's like a little butterfly right here. It's so cute. This was a gift for my husband for my birthday a few years ago, and he created this for me when I created my podcast, and I'm so in love with it. It's my favorite color, purple, and on the back it says my favorite quote that I always say at the end of this episode: who you are from within will attract from the out. My goal is to eventually have Be Mindful merch, so if you want one, let me know. There are a few people who have told me that they would totally be down to have a Be Mindful sweater, so it's going to come. I don't know when, but I promise you it's going to come. But anyway, to close this episode, I do want to say that I truly do believe that some of the things that we call or view as failures, they are just moments that are really shaping us to be who we're meant to be. It's the process of growth. And if I never went through that season of feeling like I failed, then I wouldn't be who I am today. And I am so proud of who I became today because I went through it. I grew through it. It was a transformation that I needed to go through. So if you're in a season that feels like very slow or messy or confusing, that's not proof that you're failing or that you did fail or that you are a failure. That is proof that you are growing. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone that you may know is feeling discouraged right now and may need to hear this and be reminded that they're not a failure. They are just growing and on their way to their success. And if you're on your own growth journey, then the Next Level Transformative, my coaching program, was created just for this. And as always, don't forget to be mindful because who you are from within will attract from the out. I will see you next time. Bye.